This video will show you how to install the EO2 mounting system onto a wall using Unistrut rails to allow for adjustable EO2 rail heights. The wood studs were located before the filming of this video, with the blue tape illustrating where the center of the studs are at. Two different methods to find a perfect vertical line for the location of the lag screws were used in this demonstration. The first method, shown here, is accomplished with the use of a Plumb-bob tool. After the Plumb-bob weight has settled to a perfect vertical, make sure the weight is held in place, then snap the string against the wall to leave a perfectly vertical, marked line. Measure the distance from the ceiling to the first lag screw hole location. In this video, that length was 10 inches, but may be different for you based on where you want the rail height to be. Then measure and mark the location of the remaining 3 holes. With this installation, the lag screw spacing was 18 inches. Drill the lead-in holes for the 1/4-inch diameter lag screws. A drill bit with a diameter of 3/16 of an inch was used here. The last hole was actually located below the bottom of the chalk line. A metal ruler was used as a straight edge to extend the line and mark the hole location. Place the lag screw and large diameter washer into the rail. This is a long, heavy gauge rail that's made of steel, so resting it on the floor while installing the screw made the rail easier to handle. Install the lag screws through the rail and into each of the 4 lead-in holes in the wall. Also, be aware that using 4 lag screws per rail was based on this application's load requirements. Your specific application may require fewer or more lag screws. Once the rail is loosely secured onto the wall, you'll find it easier to get the screw into the next hole position by inserting the washer into the bottom of the rail opening, then placing the tip of the screw into the washer and sliding it up into position. Notice how the lag screw is offset towards the top of the slot. This is done to help the screw carry the load against the steel. In this segment, you'll see an alternative method used for the installation of the second Unistrut rail. Measure the distance from the ceiling for the location of the first lag screw. The length is exactly the same as the topmost lag screw of the first Unistrut rail. Drill the lead-in hole. Place the lag screw and large diameter washer into the rail. Then drive the screw into the lead-in hole. Drive the screw in to a point where the rail is flat against the wall, but don't fully tighten the screw against the rail. Swing the rail so that it rotates about the top lag screw. Once the rail comes to rest, you've found perfect vertical. Outline the slot location with a pencil, then mark the screw hole location towards the top of the slot. Swing the rail again to double check for perfect vertical. If the rail comes to rest in the same location, then you know you have a good vertical location. You can now mark and drill the remaining 3 hole locations. This pendulum method works well because the rail is quite long and heavy. Now, install the remaining 3 lag screws through the lead-in holes. You've now completed the installation for the 2 Unistrut rails into the center of the wooden studs behind the walls. Now you'll prepare the EO2 mounting rail to be installed to the Unistrut rails on the wall. Double-check the spacing between the centers of the slot openings in the Unistrut rails. In this installation, it's 32 inches. Mark the 4 bolt hole locations in the EO2 rail. We'll be drilling them 32 inches apart. And to keep them centered in the rail, they'll be 6 inches from each end. Be sure to drill them in the middle of the EO2 extruded T-slots. On this rail, it's 5 inches from center to center. Drill the 4 bolt holes with a bit that's designed to drill through aluminum. Now, you'll be installing the 4-channel nuts with spring into the Unistrut rail. Place each one into the rail so that the longest dimension is vertical and fits inside the rail slot. Compress the spring and rotate the nut 90 degrees. Release the nut and let the spring press it back against the rail. Put in the second channel nut and space it 5 inches away from the first channel nut. Then, repeat this process for the 2 nuts in the second rail. Now, install the EO2 rail onto the Unistrut rails. Hand tighten the bolts through the EO2 rail and into the channel nuts. If the EO2 rail slips while installing the bolts into the channel nut, you'll easily be able to adjust the height of the EO2 rail before you secure it down. Adjusting the height of the channel nuts is exactly the advantage of the Unistrut system. Once the EO2 rail is level, then finish driving the bolts into the channel nuts to ensure the EO2 rail is tight and secure against the Unistrut rails. You're now finished with the installation, and you can snap your EO2 hardcase onto the EO2 mounting rail.